I now convened the regularly scheduled May 28, 2013 trustee meeting. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Present.
Mrs. Stoker?
Here.
Mr. Lang?
Here.
Please arise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First block of the meeting is citizens' comment. This is for public comment for 2 minutes per person, limited to residents of Westchester, business owner, or did I miss anything?
Property owner.
And property owner. First person sign up tonight is Mr. Dieter Lubert. Please come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Dieter Lubert. I've been living in Westchester over 10 years. My address is 7573 Granby Way. My talk is about the safety in Westchester. Since I'm a hiker, a walker, bicycle, and my biggest concern is in the residential area that we don't have any proper sidewalks. I'm concerned about the children from the elementary school on Cox Avenue when they go home, that they have to walk on the street and have to worry about traffic. So I don't know what Westchester can do in the future to prevent any accidents. So if there's a possibility that we have more share the road, I do go bicycling on Cox Avenue, which is also the share of the road is very narrow, and I always say, well, I got lucky, I got away again. When I cross Tylersville on Cox, I have to watch constantly the people who make the right turn on the curb lane. They don't pay any attention to people who cross the street. The worst street is Kingsgate in Tylersville. There is no way in the world that I can cross that street because there is no walkway across. People who live in Kingsgate or in Granby Station, when they do walk, they have to walk on grass. When I don't know in the future that we can do something about it to make Westchester more safety, that people start to walk a little bit instead of driving for every place by their car. Keener Park is my best picnic area. I noticed the other day that we have a lot of dead trees there, which could be cut down. And what else? It's one of the best picnic areas in Westchester. The Metro Park, which I also do a lot of walking around the lake, especially on Liberty Way. I was thinking in the future maybe to move into assisted living across the street, but I changed my mind because there's no way in the world I could cross the street to go to the park and to the lake. So if you want Westchester residents in the future to have for the older people to make it more safe, otherwise people will move out again. If I don't think that it's a place that I don't want to drive all my life, when I get not any younger.
Time is up.
My time is up.
Yes.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no presentation tonight. Okay. Next, we move on to action item. Item A, a motion to approve trustee meeting minutes, April 23rd, 2013.
I have to apologize. I haven't had an opportunity to review either of these minutes. Is there any chance we could wait till next meeting to?
On April 23rd, these are the ones you gave us recommendations for.
Right, and Bruce sent something back. I haven't had time to review that or the May 14th.
My understanding, I could be wrong, I'll ask Bruce, I thought he sent back what you all incorporated all of your changes. Is that correct?
All with one exception, and it was explained
Well,
the
then,
basis for that, because it was a comment attributed, position attributed to you in your absence and when a trustee isn't present, and another trustee defines their position on an issue, I'm kind of uncomfortable with that, and I think it's just kind of a common courtesy, and I would extend that to
Right, and I
anyone,
saw
but,
that,
you know.
and I didn't have a chance to review that. I'm
Sure, I don't mind
okay
waiting.
if it,
yeah, based on that, I don't mind waiting. I didn't read it in depth. I assume he incorporated all of your recommendations, so we'll put
I
that off.
assume he
for-
did too,
till the
but I
next meeting.
wasn't sure about that statement he made, and I wanted to review that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Let's move on to item B. I'll entertain a motion to approve trustee meeting minutes.
I was going to ask that we could wait on that as well, because I
No.
apologize, there's been a lot of action in our household, and
Understand. No problem with it. Item C, motion, entertain a motion to approve payments of bills.
Also move?
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyko, item D, requisitions greater than $2,500.
Item 1 is to Dell Marketing LP in the amount of $14,728.40. This is consistent with the Township's hardware replacement program, and these are to purchase computers. Item 2, Community Development in the amount of $5,000. The Westchester Township Board of Trustees and the Westchester Development Council shares costs for membership to the Cincinnati USA Partnership, which is the regional economic development coalition that leverages funding from local jurisdictions to promote and market Cincinnati, the greater Cincinnati area, nationally and internationally for economic development purposes. The Development Council has offered its $5,000 payment and requesting the Board of Trustees consideration to complete the membership. Item 3, Fire, $4,783.25 to Warren Fire Equipment. This is to perform the annual bench testing for the self-contained breathing apparatus, which is a required, statutorily required testing. Items 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all to purchase bulk EMS supplies. As you noted, hopefully have noted in your memorandums that each one of these are different materials and different supplies for EMS purposes. $12,827.46 to Boundtree Medical LLC, $8,478.34 to Midwest Medical Supply, $7,553.95 to Henry Schein Matrix Medical, $3,225 to Vidicare Corporation. Item 8 is for the police, in the amount of $3,000 to the Forest Science Institute Limited. This is to Chief Niehaus is requesting the board's consideration to send 2 officers, and this is for tuition for the Forest Science Certification course. The course, where once upon completion and certification, will allow these officers to recognize and to be able to bring back and train additional officers in our Westchester Police Department, but to recognize important psychological, biological, and physiological factors that can influence human behavior and memory in force encounters and pursuit situations. Item 9, services in the amount of $37,499.18 to the Butler County Water and Sewer. The Board of Trustees may recall several months ago you did approve and authorize staff to record an easement along the Voice of America property for rehabilitation of the Voice of America Museum in order to effectuate the museum development, but also fire suppression to that system. At that time, I proposed to you that the Butler County Water and Sewer Department would complete this project for supplies and materials only. And so this is the amount. It was bidded. They received bids, and this is the amount of the materials and labor, or materials for the project. And so we'd like to be able to have authority to reimburse water and sewer upon receipt of their invoices. Item 10, services, $20,000 to Brew Pro. This is to purchase crack seal for the Simline machine. The Simline machine, we have 2 machines that deploy materials for crack seal purposes, the Simline and the Durapatcher. This is for the Simline machine, and they differ based on the Simline negotiates single cracks in pavement, whereas the Durapatcher negotiates multiple, more like the alligator kind of backing cracks in the pavement. Item 11, services $10,000 to Terry Asphalt Materials Incorporated, and this is to purchase crack seal for the Durapatcher machine.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for item 1 through 11.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyko, personnel item.
Item 12 is the request boards to hire one April through October seasonal employee, Mr. Alexander Volan. He is a replacement for a previous position during the same categorical seasonal employment and is replacing someone who came to work for a few days and then subsequently quit. And a one May through September seasonal employee, Mr. J. Kupfel, in the parks, both effective May 22nd, 2013, at the hourly rate of $11.25.
I will entertain a motion for item 12.
I'll make a motion we approve item 12.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Boyko, business item.
The Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund has requested that the township refresh a current resolution authorizing the township to pick up the statutorily required contributions to the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund for applicable employees of Westchester Township. Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund mostly governs pension for the fire department firefighters, full-time firefighters, and so those are those certain applicable employees. The resolution simply, as I said, refreshes based on the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund's request the township's process and procedures for picking up the pension fund for the full-time members of this particular pension unit. The pickup is a term administered by the IRS and, of course, the statute for the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund. It does not mean that the township is paying for the employee's share of their pension. It simply states that we are picking up their share through payroll reduction and then paying the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund directly. So the pickup, again, does not mean we are paying for the employee share of those eligible and applicable employees. It simply means we are picking up their share through payroll reduction. So for your consideration, there's a motion to approve this statutory resolution.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for item 13. Will someone read it?
I'll make a motion that we approve statutory resolution number 06-2013, amending resolution 57-2004, authorizing Westchester Township to pick up the statutorily required contributions to the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund for applicable employees of Westchester Township.
I'll second.
Discussion.
A lot of confusion about that term pickup. I'm glad you clarified that. This is not the township paying the employee's portion. It's just giving us the authorization to do a salary reduction. And it's necessary because Ohio Revised Code modified the percentages that the employee has to pay to their retirement plan.
I was going to say, and this is one of the things this resolution does, is increase that amount which is deducted from employees' paychecks to pay for their pension.
Yeah. Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 14 was removed. Item 15.
This is a motion to reappoint Michael Yingling, our Community Development Director, to the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments to serve on the Intermodal Coordinating Committee. The term is July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014. He currently has served. He served in other capacities in previous positions with Butler County for OKI, and he also is the township's alternate for the Board of Directors.
I will entertain a motion for item 15.
Also moved.
I'll second it.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 16.
Item 16 is requesting the board's consideration to declare 16 properties as public nuisances as listed on your agenda. There is a sample motion for your consideration at the top of page 5.
I will entertain a motion for item 16.
I'll make the motion that after having reviewed the staff reports and affidavits, I move that we declare the properties listed on the Westchester Township Board of Trustee meeting agenda dated May 28, 2013, to be public nuisances as authorized by the Ohio Revised Code. Staff is directed to cause removal of the nuisances identified and monitor these properties for 90 days to require continued compliance. An administrative charge of 25% shall be added to the contractor fee for these properties.
Thank you. All second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 17.
Motion not to object to a liquor permit transfer from Barrington of Westchester LLC, doing business as Barrington of Westchester, to SHP4, Barrington of Westchester LLC, first floor, 7222 Heritage Spring Drive. This liquor permit transfer is due to a new ownership for the Heritage Spring Barrington development.
I will entertain the motion for item 17.
I'll make the motion that we not object.
All second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 18.
Motion not to object to a new liquor permit for the Learning Kitchen, LLC, doing business as the Learning Kitchen at 7659 Cox Lane. That establishment has moved from the town center area to the Voice of America area.
I will entertain the motion for item 18.
Also move.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 19.
Earlier this spring, the board did approve to advertise for bids for the replacement of 9 corrugated steel pipes as part of our stormwater pipe replacement program and our capital improvement. This is requesting the board to accept the bid from the Advanced Contractors and Estimators Incorporated for the 2013 stormwater pipe replacement program, not to exceed $86,110.75, and authorize the township administrator to execute said bid.
Okay. I will entertain the motion for item 19.
I'll move that we accept the bid from Advanced Contractors and Estimators, Inc., as described in the agenda.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
First reading resolutions, item 20.
This pertains to the zone change public hearing at 7 p.m. So we would prefer to, if it pleases the board, to defer this reading until after the zone change hearing.
Okay. All right, move on. Next block is citizens' comments. Okay, I see no one. We have no second reading.
No.
Move to discussion item and trustee comments.
I have one very brief. Would you prefer me to start? Or?
Yeah.
And then one, a very quick announcement. I just wanted to acknowledge the efforts of our Fire Chief Guller and also one of our police technicians, John Hunkler, who represent the township on the Greater Hamilton Safety Council. Their membership and the Westchester's membership and their participation allows the township to receive certain deductions and discounts in our Bureau of Workers' Comp premiums. And so I appreciate those two gentlemen for attending these meetings, which can be quite lengthy and frequent. But we were honored at the 2012 annual banquet, which is the 70th, for a Board of Directors Outstanding Effort Award. And I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. I'm not sure if it acknowledges further reductions to our premium, but it's a nice plan.
Maybe that's instead of...
And then the item I do have listed is very quickly. I'd like to just give the board a summary and an update on the Butler County Solid Waste Management Plan Amendment. As the board may be aware, Butler County, according to and required by law in 2005, adopted a Butler County Solid Waste Management Plan. This Board of Trustees did ratify that plan back in 2005, and there has been one update since then, and that was in 2011, which is required every 5 years by law. At this time, it's not a 5-year update. This is an amendment that the Butler County Solid Waste Management Policy Committee proposed, and the amendment is to reduce the generation fee from charge to the haulers from $2 to $1 per ton for the solid waste. The proposed generation fee decrease requires an amendment to the budgetary section of the plan. And so it is simply a deduction, or excuse me, a reduction from the generation fee, which is charged to the haulers, the Rumkeys, the CSIs, the waste management, the Republics, and they are charged that in order to haul and then basically dump the waste somewhere else. There are to my recollection, no landfills in Butler County. Additionally, another budgetary change that came subsequent to the first amendment, that they are reducing roadside collection service from $56,000 to $27,000 annually. None of these budgetary amendments affect the collections of recycling or the township's receipt of incentive for those recyclings at the drop boxes, the boxes throughout the township, so that we will continue to collect those. The generation fee reduction will result in an approximate savings of 11 cents per month, or for a total of $1.32 per year for the average resident. So it's a minimal savings to the resident, but one nonetheless. And the reason why I'm presenting this to the Board of Trustees is because the Butler County Solid Waste Management Policy Committee requires ratification by jurisdictions that comprise at least 60% of the county's population. And so, with Westchester being one of the largest populated jurisdictions in the county, your ratification of the plan would, further their mission along. And so, I just wanted to bring this to your attention and request direction from the board if you'd like for this to be scheduled, for you to ratify this plan and these amendments at one of your upcoming meetings. They do have a deadline of June 30th for community ratification.
I have one question. Does this have any impact on Westchester's township's finances at all? Not the residents, but the township. So it's moot, right?
Yes, there is.
There's no impact. Is there any requirement that Rumpke Waste Management, whoever, pass along this 11 cents a month to the residents, or are there other?
Well, it is being passed along to the resident because Rumpke is no longer being charged.
Okay, so that's one of the fees that'll be reduced on
Yes.
what else. Okay.
In that limited amount.
So there is no reduction in the recycling money that's coming back to the connections plan?
Correct. These proposed amendments do not affect the current system of how recycling is collected and how it's contributed or incentivized back to the local community for those drop boxes.
Okay. All right.
Proceed.
Is there any reason we couldn't give approval to that now, or would you like to put a formal resolution?
They do
on the
require a
agenda?
formal resolution, and so if it's at the board's pleasure, we
Let's do
could
it.
bring that to you at the next meeting. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I
Anything
have.
else?
That's all I have.
Okay. Trustee comments. George, you have anything?
I'd like to say over a beautiful, beautiful weekend, we had a very memorable and stirring memorial service at the cemetery on Monday. I think everybody who attended was, as always, and in fact, Mr. Schultz in the back was one of our honored guests on the podium. Thank you for your service. I told Wally it's because he was the only one who could still fit in his old uniform and it looked so great, and they always like to have him up there on the dais. But it was a wonderful service, and it's always gratifying to see so many of the community that turn out to honor our fallen heroes.
Only thing I want to say, I appreciate all the citizens come to our trustee meetings and participate. Thanks for the comment. All right. Well, you have to adjourn to executive session.
George, Jim?
I have no
Oh,
comment.
okay. We could, and then we could come back
Correct.
to convene the public
We
hearing.
will come back at 7 o'clock. Right? The next
Yeah.
meeting is
So
at
you
7.
could just say we could adjourn and then return
All
at
right, we
7.
will adjourn and return at 7. Do I need to read this?
Yes, but if you could modify the motion that was prepared for your consideration to enter into executive session, instead of saying you're adjourning or closing this meeting, just say you adjourn this and we'll return
Okay.
at 7 p.m.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the regularly scheduled regular meetings and go into executive session with legal counsel for the purpose of considering and discussing 1. Personnel matters, review of benefits and duties of certain non-contract and contract employees, review of the retention, tenure, or evaluation of a public employee, review compensation and benefits of certain non-contract employees, acquisition, sale, or swap of real property, and current and pending litigation. The board will return.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And just to be clear, we will be returning at 7 for the sole purpose of a public hearing regarding Group Health Associates case, not regarding what we're going into executive session about.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Stoker?
Yes.
And Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Okay. I hereby reconvene the meeting. Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Hello.
And then I provided the protocol for this public hearing for zone change case 01-13, if you'd like to declare it open.
Okay. I declare a public hearing for zone change case ZMA case number 01-13 open. That's for the Group Health Associates. I ask for staff presentation of the zone change request.
Thank you. Good
Please
evening.
proceed.
Tonight we have one application submitted before you. As you mentioned, Group Health Associates, case ZMA 01-13. This property is located on the east side of State Road 747, approximately 1,700 feet south of Collinsville Road. The applicant is requesting a zoning map amendment for 6.94 acres from R1A to commercial planning development and preliminary development plan approval, and the applicant is Duke Realty, Ohio. This is an aerial photo showing the general vicinity. Running through the center of this slide is State Road 747. This is Tylersville Road just to the north. This is Smith Road just to the south. The property in question is outlined in the dashed green line just on the east side of 747, just north of where the CMC property is located. This is a closer aerial perspective. Once again, this is the CMC property. This is Hutzelman Way. This is 747 just to the east. There's a tree line here. Just to the east is the developing condo development off of Beckett Road. As you can see from this illustration on the top of this slide, the current zoning of the property is R1A, as I mentioned. The surrounding zoning just to the north is also R1A. To the east is RPUD. To the south is the CPUD, developed as the CMC property, as I mentioned. Also to the south is residential PUD, but it's developed as part of the Beckett Ridge PUD. It's developed commercially as the Goodyear, and I think it's the Donatos right next to it. And to the west is also commercial planning development. What they're requesting this evening is to change the zoning from R1A to CPUD. As you can see, the orange hash line on that slide. In conjunction, as I mentioned, with this request, they're requesting this development plan to be approved with it. Contained in the development plan is a two-phase plan. In the first phase is this 52,000 square foot two-story medical office building. In phase 2, which is this 20,000 square foot two-story addition just off to the east of the phase 1. They're proposing 35.3% open space, which does exceed the 15% minimum as required by the PUD regulations. This is 747 just off to the left of the slide. They're proposing a full access movement all the way to the north side of it. There's two exiting movements, a right out and a left out, and also a single entry lane going into that. To the south side of the site, there is the existing access drive that they're looking to tie into and provide alternate access into the site. The retention is at the rear of the property. As far as the land use plan has two different designations. The majority of the property is designated in this pink color. which is community mixed use. The land use plan definition of that designation is moderate density residential with integrated recreational and commercial uses, with the commercial having community, market, and pedestrian access. And then the rear portion, the kind of the orange tan to the rear, that's residential transitional, which is defined as medium density, detached or attached housing, and related compatible uses that provide a transition between single-family residential uses and other types of development where such use will effectively terminate the spread of higher intensity uses and conserve the adjacent residential neighborhood. If you can recall from the preliminary development plan, they do have at the rear portion of it their retention. As you can see, it does have a little bit of parking that might spill into that residential area, but the dividing line between those two districts is approximately in this area. Some comments that staff has. The identified private access drive at the north side of the site is intended to be a temporary access point from 747 until the permanent access point can be achieved at the predetermined location just to the north of this site. The exact location and design of the permanent curb cut will be subject to ODOT approval since it is on a state road. The provided traffic impact study does indicate that the illustrated drive with the recommended improvements would be adequate to serve the proposed developments. As you can see on the preliminary development plan, they are showing a deceleration lane coming into the property to make that right-hand turn. Staff's also recommending that a non-restricted cross-access easement should be provided through the property, which should benefit all property owners to the north and the south. This cross-access drive would help alleviate traffic flows and better manage traffic circulation in the area, and also reduce trips onto State Road 747, and also provide access to that potential traffic light just off to the site to the north. Staff's also recommending the applicant is showing some landscaping to the rear of the property. Excuse me. Staff's also recommending that the final development plan stage, a detailed landscaping plan should be provided to demonstrate that they are providing adequate buffering to the residential development developing to the east. A photometric analysis should also be provided at the final development plan stage to ensure that the lights that are used on site are also not a distraction and detriment to the residential development to the east. A preliminary drainage study has been submitted demonstrating that adequate detention, as I mentioned before, just to the rear of the property can be achieved on site. However, a detailed drainage plan should be provided at the final development plan stage. Any improvements, as you can see in the back, there's an identified floodplain area and a 75-foot stream disturbance limit indicated. Any development in that area should be coordinated with Butler County to meet their required standards. And finally, on the plan, in the notes section, it does reference a 35-foot setback. However, the applicant is proposing a 233 setback from the rear property line at its nearest point, which is ideal since it allows for separation from the existing residential development to the east. Some site views. This site view looking to the north along 747 here. For reference point, you can see the CMC sign. So the subject property is just on the other side of that sign. This is directly across from the subject site. This is approximate location where the temporary curb cut would be, and then the permanent access would be where you can see those curb cuts that are stubbed in on either side. This is looking southeast. Once again, there's a CMC sign, so just to this side of that sign is the proposed development. Looking to the south, further north on 747, so the subject site is approximately in this location. Looking directly to the east across 747, you can see the subject site here, and same vantage point. It's hard to see on the screen there, but there you can see the rooftops of the residents that are just on the other side of the tree line. And then on the interior access drive on the CMC property, as I mentioned, that cross-access drive would be located just to the left, staggered a little bit to prevent cut-through traffic. Some comments from other agencies. The Westchester Zoning Commission did conduct a public hearing on April 15th, 2013, and recommended approval of the application with conditions which have been incorporated into the draft resolution. The Butler County Planning Commission also conducted a public hearing on April 9th, 2013, and also recommended approval of the application with conditions. The Butler County Engineer's Office had several engineering type concerns that will be addressed during final development plan approval. The Engineer's Office did also note that the access drive that runs through the middle of the site should be removed. The parking should be extended for each of those, and the traffic should be directed around this and then over to the adjoining property. And also they noted that the right-in, right-out in this location should be widened to 15 feet with the associated signage as required by their regulations. Westchester Fire Department had 3 comments: to construct in accordance with all applicable building and fire codes, to provide fire hydrant to comply with the 400-foot from fire hydrant to further structure, provide no parking fire lane access at front of the building locations to be determined by the fire department. The Butler County Environmental Services had 2 comments. The 20-foot water main easement along the entire south property line should be required, and local water and sanitary fees apply. And finally, the Butler County Soil and Water Conservation Office noted that the soils in the area are very limited for construction due to high water tables and limited strength. Therefore, precautions should be taken when construction, such as basement roads, etc., takes place. This is the first reading before you tonight in public hearing. At the second reading, at the next meeting, the trustees are to accept the Zoning Commission's recommendation of approval, approve with modification, or deny the submitted zoning map amendment and preliminary development plan unless additional information is necessary. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have of me at this time, or the applicant is here to make his presentation.
Okay. Mr. Lane or Ms. Stoker, do you have any questions or need clarification?
Just one. I know as part of the consideration is, of course, the surrounding zoning, the CPUD, and this whole transitional. Are they looking at a architectural style which will fit in with that type of appearance that we're looking for in that area? You know, the pitched roofs, et cetera.
Right. At this point in time, they haven't presented preliminary architectural plans for what they have in mind. At the final development plan stage, they would have to present those details. I'm not sure if the applicant has plans already in mind to do that, but it's a 2-story building. I'm not sure if it's going to be a pitched roof or a flat roof or what, but that'll be a final development plan detail.
Thank you.
I have no questions for staff. I do have a question for the applicant.
Yes. All right. I now ask the applicants to come forward to give us a presentation.
Good evening. I'm Jay Smith with Duke Realty. We are the applicant for the development. We will be the owner and the developer of the project. Group Health will be the sole tenant in the building. So the initial plan is to construct a 50,000 square foot 2-story medical office building. It will be 100% occupied by Group Health, and then we've got the potential for a 20,000 square foot future expansion. So the initial parking lot you see there would be inclusive of the 50,000 feet. If we ever did the future expansion, we would then extend the parking lot for that additional square footage. We've had conversations with the property owner to the east, Mr. Dave Labus. We've talked to him about landscaping. There's a couple of condominium residences or landominiums that are immediately to the east of the site, and we've talked about screening that. When we come back with a final development plan, we'll show you what the landscaping in that area wants to look like. We've also had conversations with the CMC property owner to the south, Mr. Greg Land, and I believe we are very close to a final easement agreement with him to access the right-in, right-out on the south side of the property. As far as the staff recommendations and conditions, we do not have any issues or concerns with the staff comments, and we feel like we can be in full compliance with those conditions. I've got Mr. Randy Hammond here with Group Health. If you'd like him to speak a few minutes on just the facility itself and the type of uses within the building, he's here to give a very quick discussion about that, and then we can answer any questions that you may have about the project.
And just one other, you mentioned you had no problems with the staff's concerns and conditions they've raised. The county engineer also raised a few.
Yes.
You don't have any problem. Our fire department, you don't have any problem?
We do not
with?
have any issues,
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
You had a question also about the architecture. We are working on that right now. The plan right now is it is a fairly traditional precast and glass medical office building. It'll have a flat roof. When we come in with the final development plan, we can bring those elevations in and show those for approval at that time. But from what I've seen, I think it's something you guys will be very happy with. So,
Andrew, do you want to say a few words?
Good evening. My name's Randy Hammond. I'm the Director of Support Services with Group Health Associates. I came tonight to answer any questions that you may have and familiarize you with Group Health. We're a multi-specialty physician practice, part of the Tri-Health Health System. We've got 8 medical centers in the Cincinnati area. Our closest one is down the street on 747 in Springdale, right near the old Avon plant. 6 of those 8 sites are what we would call like our major medical centers, where they house multi-specialties, 18 different specialties, so primary care, OB, ENT. We also have pharmacy, imaging, physical therapy, so it's kind of a one-stop shop for all your medical needs. We can take care of everything. We've had some successful relocations similar to what we're attempting to do here in Anderson. We relocated in Mason. We partnered with the city of Mason at their community center. And most recently, we relocated our Clifton, our original location, down the street on the campus of Good Sam. And each time it's kind of given us a better opportunity to serve patients and partner with either local businesses, either more businesses in the area, more community support, and made it more convenient to meet our patients' needs. There's a good number of our patients that come from this area. You know, this area is growing, so it kind of puts us in a good spot to be able to maintain a convenient location for existing patients, as well as help with the growing families and a lot of our patients. As the patient base continues to grow in this area, it'll be much more convenient for them. So generally speaking, that's Group Health. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have no questions, Randy. My concern was addressed during Jay's presentation. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm not too clear. Is it pedestrian accessible? Is there a sidewalk on this project? I'm not sure.
At the street, I'm not familiar with.
They are showing a sidewalk along the frontage of 747, and there's some sidewalks on the interior. But there is a sidewalk along the entire frontage of 747.
Along 747.
Correct.
Okay. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Next is.
Any other questions?
No question. No.
Thank you, Jay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
sir. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Do we have any proponents for this project? Please come forward. Identify yourself.
Good evening. My name is Steve Hunt. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Aronoff, Rosen & Hunt in Cincinnati. I represent Hutzelman Farms. That is the owner of the 20-acre commercial site directly across the street. And we support the project. We think it's a nice addition to the township. I'm really here for the limited purpose of the northerly curb cut, to make sure everyone's on the same page that that's a temporary access point. My client, as you probably know, is in the process of developing the Westchester Village site across the street. We're down to the remaining 20 acres of commercial site, commercial development on the site. We have a previously approved curb cut with ODOT that at some point will have a traffic signal, and one of the staff requirements for the site approval here was their access point is a temporary because it doesn't align with our curb cut. And we just wanted to make sure the record's clear and that the township's on board that that is a temporary curb cut, and that at the time the properties to the north develop, Duke will align to the existing curb cuts. And I think they're in agreement to that, but my client asked me to come and just set that in the record. Happy to answer any questions, but we do support the project.
I have no questions, Steve. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any more proponents? Any more proponents? Okay. Any opponents to this project? Opponents to this project? Seeing none. Is there any neutral comments? Any neutral comments? Okay. I see none. Do you have any questions, clarification, or anything? All right. Please conduct first reading of resolution.
Resolution number 07-2013, resolution approving a zoning map amendment from R1A to CPD and preliminary development plan for case ZMA 01-13, Group Health Associates Medical Office Building. Now therefore be it resolved that on the basis of the above actions and findings, the Westchester Township Board of Trustees does hereby concur with the recommendation of approval to the Westchester Township Zoning Commission and does hereby approve the proposed zoning map amendment from R1A to CPUD and preliminary development plan for the aforesaid application with the following conditions, and there are a series of 10 conditions listed.
Thank you. I hereby close the public hearing. This meeting is adjourned.
Do you need a vote for these?
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Also
this
move.
meeting.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.